Okay, so this is my third time trying to record this because my last time, I just didn't like. I was just rambling. But the time before that, I had recorded a whole 18 minutes. But I usually have my headset on because I'd be like streaming, playing games, whatever. I didn't have my headset on, and I didn't have this mic plugged in. So my dumbass sat here and talked at the camera like this for 18 minutes. 18 fucking minutes of just yapping to myself. No recording. Nothing. No proof of existence. Just no audio. Just me just mouthing. So I'm going to attempt this for like a third time and hopefully it goes pretty well. I am a fan of the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm not going to try to hide it. Okay? But I am making this YouTube video in defense of Oklahoma City Thunder and some of the things that, some of the narratives that I just don't like being pushed against them. And I just don't think that people are really appreciating the greatness that they're watching. Not just with Oklahoma City, but just with the era of basketball that is being played right now in the playoffs and stuff like that. I'm not like a huge like video breakdown guy. Like I'm not gonna sit here and try to break down plays and say, oh, did Shea get fouled? Did Shea not get fouled? And draw a bunch of red lines on your screen. We have a bunch of people that in the basketball community, in the YouTube community, social media content creators that do that kind of stuff, and they do a great job of that. Content creators that are not paid or looking for easy, just cheap engagement bait. You know. Sorry about that. I was interrupted for a second, but. Yeah, we have plenty of great content creators that make that kind of content, and I don't want to take away from them, and I'm not trying to be one of them. I just really need to get this off my chest. And I'm not somebody that's going to sit here. I'm a big numbers guy, and people know that know me in real life. Like, I'm big on statistics and analytics, but I didn't sit here and, like, research a bunch of analytics to give you. I kind of just have a rough knowledge of some already, and if anybody doesn't believe any of the ones that I say, like, they're more than willing to fact check me, but I'm not going to sit up here and lie and create fake numbers. I'm well aware of what the analytics and statistics are for some of the talking points that I'm going to bring up. I feel like right now, in the NBA, kind of in sports media as a whole, but especially in the NBA, I feel like there's a mass psychosis going on. You know, and Kevin Durant kind of said it too, that, you know, it doesn't even feel like there's real basketball fans that really appreciate what they're watching and really enjoy it. You can say the same thing about NFL right now, you know, baseball too. There's some like weird narratives going on with like, you know, American players, Dominican players, whatever, you know, playing and having fun and being cocky or just, you know, being boring, whatever. There's plenty of narratives going around across sports right now as a whole. And obviously, I do think gambling plays a part into where a lot of this negativity and emotions come from. We're watching certain things happen on the court or on the field because people are mad that they're losing money or, you know, things like this are happening and they're finding reasons for it. Like, oh, this person just flops all day instead of playing real basketball, and that's why I lost my $30 parlay. You know, things that nature. But fuck those people, respectfully. If any of you are one of those people, fuck y'all. Because I lose my parlays too, but I'm not sitting here creating narratives about players or, you know, fall compilations, you know, because I lost my parlay or because I need free media clicks. Okay? Let me preference that. I think making a compilation of somebody falling to the ground in one game is trolly. And I think that you're just doing it looking for free engagement bait, and it worked because, you know, look at the day and age that we live in. Look at America. Look at who's running president right now. Like, look who's the active president. Everybody has a right to vote, and I don't think that should be taken away. But some people clearly should not have the right to vote. I don't think it's any different in social media. I don't think some people's basketball opinions or football opinions or whatever, fuck them. I don't think it should matter. They clearly aren't watching or viewing with good intentions or from the right state of mind. You know, there's a certain YouTuber that was crashing out over Shea Gilgeous-Alexander the other day, and in the same tweets, he's talking about being sober and putting drugs away for only like the second time or some shit. And look, I hope you get help. I hope you find inner peace, and I hope you get help and you put the drugs away. But I'm supposed to respect your opinion on Shea Gilgeous-Alexander when you're sitting there talking about how you hate the guy and you can't even say why you hate him. and that he seems like an actual like great person off the court. You know, I'm supposed to listen to Max Kellerman's opinions about OKC's allowed to play a different level of basketball, and the refs don't treat them. The refs aren't fair, and they favor OKC when OKC does not lead the league in free throws. They haven't. The Lakers do, back-to-back years. Out of the 4 remaining playoff teams, including the Cavs, OKC shoots the least amount of free throws. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander himself is the free throws for OKC. Do I think that Shai has a better whistle than 90% of the league? Absolutely. Do I think that Shai has a better whistle than 95% of his All-Star contemporaries? 100%. But he's an MVP, and that's how it usually goes. Also, in case you needed a little analytic to help you, Shai drives to the basket almost the most in the league, if not the most. That's usually a recipe for getting free throws. Just saying. Giannis shoots a lot of free throws. Drives to the basket. He's very big. Gets fouled. Just saying. LeBron should probably get more free throws with how much he drives to the basket. How physical guys are with him sometimes too, knowing that he's bigger than them. But he doesn't. He should, but, you know, hopefully that helped me out with the LeBron lovers. LeBron sexuals. Anyways, in all seriousness, I don't think Shai getting as many free throws as he does is a big deal. If OKC shoots 19 free throws in a game and Shai shot 9 of them, that means that the rest of OKC as a whole only got 10 free throws. Right now in the series with the San Antonio Spurs, because I'm recording this after Game 4 when OKC is tied 2-2, the San Antonio Spurs have a 25 free throw difference right now versus OKC. Yet the series is still tied 2-2, which I think speaks to the greatness of OKC and all the things that they do right that people don't want to acknowledge. Now, there are some people who try to, you know, have the discussion with me that say, like, oh, you know, they say that, like, OKC is a super good team and Shai is a super good player, and that's what makes the flopping and all that more frustrating. Let me explain to you real quick, okay? The flopping that OKC does and the plays that they do isn't anything that they've invented. It's not shit that hasn't been done before by other people. OKC's fucking Shai Gilgeous-Alexander mentors are Chris Paul, who I just have to say his name. Everybody knows just by me saying Chris Paul's name. And Sam Cassell was his trainer for 1 year when he was on his rookie when he was on the Clippers. And Sam Cassell is infamous for the pump fake, lean in, draw shooting foul. Those are his mentors, his predecessors that are sitting there that have made millions and had success in the league that are telling you, hey, these are the kind of things you could do on the basketball court and get away with. And yet, Shai's getting beaten up for it in terms of media attention and the way that he gets treated. Why? That's the way that the league is being ref right now. That's the way that the league is allowing somebody to play. Be more mad at the fucking league. It doesn't change how hard Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is to guard one-on-one. We've seen that for years now. And that's where a lot of the fouls come from. Because, look, you can look at things from two perspectives. You can be bitter and bitch on Twitter about the flopping and, you know, highlight certain plays. Ignore the plays that other teams do in the same game when they flop or other shit, and just highlight the ones that OKC does in the game and say OKC's doing this, it's so bogus, so bullshit. And you can make that the focus a point and completely ignore why you actually lost the game, why your team or just a team that you wanted to win lost a game. Because you could be like the Minnesota Timberwolves head coach Chris Finch, who has spent 2 years bitching about the whistle that OKC has gotten, and it makes no sense. OKC beat the fuck out of Minnesota last year, 4-1. In their home building, Shai, Chet, and Jalen Williams almost all had 30 in the same game in their home building. D the fuck up. You bitching about the refs. Anthony Edwards, I love Anthony Edwards, but he is the shot diet of prime Dion Waiters. And Rudy Gobert and Julius Randle-led front court is not an offensive recipe for success. So you can bitch and moan all you want, Chris Finch, about OKC's whistle. But guess what? Guess what? The Timberwolves fucking suck. And they underperform in the playoffs. They don't underperform, but they clearly hit their ceiling every year and run into that better team and lose in back-to-back-to-back playoffs. So grow the fuck up. Honestly. Grow the fuck up. You see Mitch Johnson, when y'all made that we all talk about the compilation of Shea falling on the floor and all these things. Mitch Johnson, the head coach of San Antonio Spurs, said he actually was disappointed in the Spurs. That instead of blaming the refs for calling the fouls, he said, we know what Shea's trying to do. We know what the OKC trying to do, and we falling for it. That's on us. We're stupid. That's respect. That's coaching a winning team. That's why the Spurs are in the position they're in right now and the Timberwolves aren't. I saw Wemby before the game practicing for iHeart, holding him and shit. That's respect. I'm not saying that iHeart should be allowed to hold, but instead of Wemby bitching and moaning and complaining to the refs, what is he doing? He's trying to find ways to counter it, find ways to play through it, and he's not moaning or whining. Anybody in the league is capable of having that same mentality. And respect to the Spurs and respect to the Wemby, because rather they win the series or not, they clearly have an intention of, instead of bitching and moaning, they are clearly trying to match the physicality of OKC, and it worked. OKC got away with a lot of bullshit in game 2. iHeart grabbing Stephon Castle's hair was not okay. I don't know why he did that. I can't speak for fucking iHeart. And the refs should have called a foul, and they didn't. But that's not iHeart's fault that they didn't call a foul. It's not Shea's fault. The refs just, they either didn't see it or just didn't care to call it. Whatever. I'm sure if they called it, iHeart would not have argued having grabbed his fucking hair. I don't know why the fuck he did that. But it's not OKC's fucking fault. They don't tell the refs anything, and that's the funniest part about it, And then in game 3, it was extremely physical, and we had one of the ugliest, long, free throw heavy third quarters that we ever had. Because you guys talk about the OKC being favored by the refs. The reffing was pretty even in game 3. Both teams shot 30 something free throws. And that third quarter was back and forth off free throws. That's what y'all want, right? If the refs aren't going to be biased and they're going to call everything on OKC, they also have to be fair and call shit on the Spurs too. Or do what you want is not for OKC to be favored by the refs, not to not be favored. You want the other team to be favored, so OKC is more of an uphill battle. You don't want the game called evenly. You just want OKC to get yelled at all the time and other teams to get away with murder. That's really what people want, because, OKC doesn't have that many flaws in their roster. They're a great team. They've been beating everybody's ass for 2 years, and, you got to see them lose somehow. I get it. Shea keeps taking MVPs from people's favorite players. I get it. For sure. With all that being said, the Spurs are going about things, I respect what the Spurs are doing. The series is going as expected. I care more about AJ Mitchell's health and Jalen Williams' health than I do about the rest and the free throws. The Spurs are more physical than OKC in game 4. I do think the Spurs got away with it a little bit, but I think it balances out from OKC getting away with stuff in game 2. So from that perspective, hey, play ball. Check ball on Tuesday. Let's see what happens. You know what I'm saying? It was also a Scott Foster reffing masterclass, as expected. Whatever, bro. It's 2-2. We have home court advantage last 2 out of 3 games. If it goes to a third game, like I said, I care more about the health than I do about the reffing. And that's my whole point, bro. People getting on Twitter and bitching or making fall compilations isn't going to fucking change the outcome of the game. But it is annoying when commentators are bringing it up mid-game. Like when iHeart was holding Wemby. Do you understand how insane it is that NBC, a national broadcast, is making compilations mid-game of OKC doing that? Do you understand how insane that is? But they're not doing any compilation in game 4 when when San Antonio's being very physical with Shea. I think from a media standpoint, as one-sided as we feel the refs are, I think from a media standpoint, it feels like the whole world collectively hates OKC right now. And for genuinely no reason other than they just won. Even with the flopping and shit that they do at times, like, genuinely, the thing is, they're a very mature team. They're the best coach team in the league, and they don't argue the way that people think they do. Shea has 9 career technicals. He don't bitch and whine like Luka and other superstars when they don't get calls. Mark Daigneault's been, I don't think he's ever been ejected from a game like other head coaches have because they yell at the refs. In the Lakers OKC series, I don't know what the refs said to Austin Reeves, but I guess the refs said something to Austin Reeves that Austin Reeves didn't like after Austin Reeves complained about not getting a foul call, and Austin Reeves responded by calling the ref like a bitch ass hoe. Do you know that the refs, they're just doing their job, right? And I'm not sure if the refs has something disrespectful or not. But genuinely speaking, imagine calling your coworker a bitch ass hoe because he's not doing their best job, and now you expect him to turn around and start doing his job better or respect you more. Think about it. Because you know what happens when you speak reckless to the refs and the league finds out about it, or you talk about it afterwards in interviews after the games? You get fined for talking out your grill. And that's what Austin Reeves did. And my whole thing is like, Burko, I don't understand, right? Why do you think that you could call the ref a bitch ass hoe and now think that they're gonna treat you with more respect and give you an even better whistle? You see Shea ever get in the ref's face and yell? No. Rather Shea flopped or not, I'd rather you got the foul call. He'll throw his hands in the air. Like every single person in the league does. Any single person that's ever played basketball does. And then he goes right back. He doesn't stop and whine on the court and beg for a foul and not get back on transition like Luka or LeBron or Jokic and give up, or James Harden and give up layups. He gets his ass back on defense. He'll talk in a timeout. Mark Daigneault talking a timeout. Mark Daigneault's one of the best head coaches in the league at using his challenge. Tell another team to use a challenge if they like a call. And yeah, I get it. It can be frustrating having to burn a challenge early that you shouldn't have to burn or whatever. I get it. But then there are certain plays that a head coach can challenge if they want. If they really believe in its heart it's not a foul, or they really believe that specific foul call will be too impactful on the game in that moment. There are just too many other parts of the basketball game that could be acknowledged and admired to focus on the flopping and everything else. It's just a mass psychosis by sports media right now, and it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing when Max Kellerman is sitting there talking about it himself. And he's not even right. From like an analytical standpoint, he's talking about, Isaiah Joe got flopped on an illegal screen, and because of that, like, OKC's favored by the refs. Julian Champagnie had a wide open catch and shoot three, hesitated, second guessed it, and then shot it. And the ref ended up calling a foul on an illegal screen that Isaiah Joe probably did sell. But so when is selling an illegal screen a bad thing? Who fucking cares? I'm doing the same thing if I'm playing basketball. I'm tiny as shit. If I'm out on the court right now, you best believe I'm a flopper, take a charge, or do some shit. I gotta find a way. I'm outmatched, outsized. IQ, mental frustration, it's all part of the game. And right now, OKC got the whole world in some sort of mass psychosis and mental frustration, as if y'all on the court denim. Even Reggie Miller said Julian Champagnie should not have hesitated in that moment, and Isaiah Joe wouldn't have gotten the foul call. But other teams do tiny little mistakes like that sometimes, and OKC finds a way to capitalize on it. You know, if Chris Paul didn't snitch about Julius Randle or whoever it was not tucking in his shirt, just stepping back onto the court, you wouldn't have had one of the greatest buzzer beater passing from Steven Adams to Dennis Schroeder that you had in history. When that whole shit happened, missed free throw, full court, buzzer beating layup. That only happened because Chris Paul bitched about an tucked in jersey or some weird shit. That's definitely some shit only Chris Paul would do. But it led to one of the greatest moments in NBA history. Or at least like one of the coolest. You know what I'm saying? Like, as an OKC fan, I'm never gonna forget that. But when did, some of these cheesy shit, when did it become such a bad fucking thing? You know what I'm saying? And I'm not talking about Lou Dort playing overly aggressive defense and sometimes accidentally injuring somebody. I do think he can chill, but I think most OKC people will tell you they're ready to move on from Lou Dort anyway. I love Lou and I'm forever grateful for what he did, but look, Casey Wallace got his chain. It's cool now. He can rest in Valhalla. I just don't understand where a lot of this hate and stuff comes from, other than the fact that we have just been the best team and have beaten the shit out of everybody for 2 years straight now. And Shea is the MVP. So I just feel like the media is pushing OKC, and obviously they're on your TV more than your own fucking favorite team probably is, and you have no choice but to watch them if you want to watch basketball, and because of that, you're also seeing all these things. I promise you, if you turn on a fucking Wizards-Bucks game in the middle of January, you're going to see the same bullshit that you fucking seen in OKC game. The difference is you just don't give a fuck because those teams suck. It either doesn't work to their advantage or they do so much other shit wrong, it doesn't fucking matter. And you just don't care unless you're a fan of one of those teams. I promise you, OKC flops as much as any other team in the league really fucking does. And you can't convince me otherwise. You gonna tell me, if you a Laker fan, that Austin Reeves doesn't have a generational whistle for somebody that has never been an all-star? He gets more free throws called than half the all-stars in the league despite not being them. But that's okay. Is Austin Reeves some super freak athlete? Is he a super big player? Is he a super good player? No. Why does he have that good of a whistle? But Laker fans aren't gonna bitch about it. No, they're not, because y'all only bitch about it when it's OKC busting y'all team's ass. If your team was playing OKC doing the same shit, y'all wouldn't bitch. Y'all would not fucking bitch about it. And I just think it's sad. And I just think part of it is like, look, I love Kenny Beecham. He's one of my favorite basketball content creators of all time. And I'm so happy he got signed to NBC. I hope he continues to do great things. And I hope his career goes on to blossom. But some of the downside to content creating and social media having such an impact on everyday life, politics, and everything, you see Trump using Twitter. You see Kenny Beecham went from a nobody YouTuber to now having his own podcast on NBC. Those are like important things because it means that the everyday regular Joe on Twitter, it makes them feel like they're more important and that their opinion matters even more. And it gets such highlighted to the point where you have commentators like Reggie Miller or Doris Burke mid-game talking about tweets. What people be saying on Twitter, like as if half of them have ever played basketball, as if half of them understand what they're watching. Why does Shea falling on the floor 9 times change Jalen Williams and Jared McCain busting ass? You guys are saying it's so fucking impossible to watch the Thunder. It's so ugly to watch. There's nothing that they're going to appreciate. You can appreciate Jay Will being a third string center coming in and shooting a flamethrower. You just don't want to appreciate. You can appreciate Alex Caruso being a generational role player. You just choose not to appreciate it. You can appreciate all these things that are happening in the same game that some of the ugliness is. You just don't want to because you're watching it from a hater perspective. You're watching it from a mindset perspective, a media perspective. You're seeing the tweet. You're seeing the narratives. You're hearing the noise. So you're now tuning in only to look to see if this shit is true. You're not watching from a real basketball standpoint to appreciate the beauty of the game and all the players and the facets and the little out of timeout plays and the DHOs and the going over and under screens and the zone defenses being broken down or the coaching, like you don't give a fuck about any of that. You just want to see the people at the top fail because you're tired of seeing them at the top. So you're willing to make whatever narratives you have to make in order to see them fail. And it's crazy. It's crazy. Look, OKC might not win this series. And it might just come down to them not being healthy enough. And it sucks. It sucks. And everybody's going to run with the fact, if they lose, either to the Spurs or the Knicks, that, they didn't get free throws and look what happened. Bro, at the end of the day, if Jalen Williams and AJ Mitchell was healthy, I'd have no doubt in my mind as an OKC fan that they win the whole thing. But yes, without those guys, I do question their ability. And the cracks are starting to show. And if they lose, they fucking lose, bro. They're still in a great position to contend next year and can be an even better team next year. I'm not going to lose sleep over it the way that people think I am. But people want to run with narratives and they're going to kick OKC when they're down. Good, bro. Good. OKC is a chip. OKC is a chip. And they're still in prime contention and contend the next several years for a chip. Some of y'all have never seen a chip. Will never see a chip. So I'd sit there and hate on the best teams too. At the end of the day, it's not that what OKC is doing is that egregious or it's stuff that they invented. It's just that OKC is the best team in the league as of right now still. They don't have many flaws in their game and people need a reason to hate. But at the end of the day, the flopping and the free throws does not change the outcome of a game the way that people think they do. At the end of the day, people need to play better and people need to coach better. And I'm sure that's what majority of players and coaches feel like in the locker room. Outside of the few that want to be bitter losers. So, hopefully, as an OKC fan, hopefully they pull it out. I think it'll be OKC Knicks. I think OKC has a great chance to beat the Knicks, but the Knicks are looking more generational than the Pacers last year. So, we will see, and I think the finals will be just as good between the Knicks and the Thunder or the Spurs and the Knicks as the Spurs and the Thunder are being right now. Cavs, just go the fuck home. Y'all fucking suck. Thank you, and get off of Oklahoma City's dick.